decided to step into this album and kind of encompass that world of tenderness, but also strength. What were kind of your thought processes of, okay, these are the themes that I'm going to follow?
Um, well, I think, especially in today's day and age, like we live in a society where a lot of people are very much always trying to put on the persona that they don't care, unbothered, too cool, and nobody wants to show that they care or that they have emotions these days. And a lot of people have said that about me, even where they're like, oh, I just feel like you're so unbothered, or you're so strong, or you're so, I've got that a lot in my life in general. When actually I'm a very deep feeler. I'm very empathetic. I feel a lot. And I wanted to make a body of work that fully showed that vulnerability, and that actually really dug deep into my heart in a way that none of my other albums ever had. I felt like I was ready to do that because I've been making music long enough that I felt that it was that time for me. And then it just so happened that shortly after working on the album, I became pregnant, which was such a big part of being able to feel even deeper than I ever have. So, yeah, just everything that I was going through in my life at that time, and along with also just, I had already had this vision of just wanting the album to be very vulnerable, very raw, very honest, and um, just a full encapsulation of my heart. Like, I wanted to be able to really put my heart, my whole heart, into a project, and I feel that that's this one.
Talking about daggers, I could really see just the care and the intent that you have for this character that you're singing to about self-worth and loving yourself. So I'm curious for you, when diving into this in the middle of writing and producing, how was working on this album healing for you, and how did it provide that like emotional salve, just as a creative?
Um, it's crazy because a lot of times I feel, and especially with this album in particular, I felt that I really made music that my future self would need that I didn't realize I was gonna need at that time. And so many things came full circle with the project. Like even with Daggers that you're speaking about in particular, when I wrote it, I was writing it with a friend in mind, and from the perspective of, as a woman, like we see so many of our homegirls go through stuff, and we see them subject themselves to so much, and we want better for them, and it hurts so much to see our friends go through the stuff that they go through. And I wanted to put that into a song of just really feeling like that feeling of like, I wish you could see yourself the way that I see you, and I wish you could see things for what I see it for. And and the album is actually dedicated to my mom. My mom later ended up getting diagnosed, and she's no longer here. And so the song ended up taking on an even deeper meaning because it can be applied as well to like a lot of things that my mom went through in her life. And so pretty much all of the songs ended up taking on a deeper meaning to me because of that, and because of it being dedicated to her. So I think all of that to say that at the time, I might not have even realized subconsciously that I was making all of this to heal myself. Mm-hmm. And then looking back on it and listening back to the music now, everything makes a lot more sense and is exactly what I need to hear right now. So I really did make the music that I needed, for my grieving process, for just the place that I'm at in my life right now. I made the music that I needed to hear, and I really needed it because I turn to music as a way of relief and a way of escapism, and I have my whole life since I was little. I've always been that person that just put my headphones in and listen to music to take me somewhere else and to get me through stuff. And a lot of times I might feel I really don't have a song that I can listen to that I can connect to, and so I had to make that music for myself.
And is that how you got to the title of the album, Sincerely?
Sincerely, well, I had actually figured out that title pretty early on in the process, and it just kept taking on deeper and deeper meanings, and that's how I knew that I made the right choice with the album title. So yeah, it's a very multi-layered album title. Is like a cake. There's so many layers to how perfect that title really is.
I know, as you're talking, I was like, oh my gosh, it makes sense just how everything's unfolded. And I'm always curious just because, albums are such a work of art as a whole. I know we don't necessarily consume music that way anymore, but it is truly your masterpiece that you're giving to the world.
At one point I was like, I'm gonna make sure each of these songs is like, this is my letter to the world, this is my letter to this person, this is my letter to that, this is the one to myself. So it's like I tried to really conceptualize in a different way that I never have when making any other album. And then, like I said, it took on so many other meanings later, even like how I didn't know that my mom was gonna pass, and when my mom passed, a lot of what I had left from her is letters that she wrote to me. And so it ended up, like I said, just more and more reasons for me to realize that it was the correct title for the project. I used to everyone misunderstanding. Wish I didn't let my emotions run away.
As I've noticed, artists like you, artists like SZA, like Tyler, Omar, you guys have really stuck to staying true to yourselves. You've evolved, you've tried different genres and mastered them as well, but every time I'm always like, oh, this you can hear SZA, this you can hear Tyler, this you can hear it's Gali and she's doing rock, or it's Gali and she's doing dembow. So I'm curious for you, when you step into these conversations either with other producers you're working with studio executives, how do you kind of stand your ground and say, I know my brand, I know who I am, and we can evolve and we can try different things, but I'm going to stay true to me because I know that's who I am and that's what my fans like as well.
Yeah. Well, I've never had a problem staying true to myself. I don't know how to be anything except for myself. I don't know what it's like to make music for other people. I make music in my house by myself, so there's no there's no one who could ever be like, do a song like this or do a song like this, or we wrote this song for you or whatever. It's always just me, and I write all my own music. So I think that if you write all of your own music, there isn't really a way to step away from yourself. I think it would be a lot easier to compromise as an artist if you were, for instance, one of those artists who people just give you songs that are already written. But I've never had those type of issues in my career personally.
I love that, where you're like, no, I'm sticking to my own thing and doing my thing. And
I think that every artist just has some people are artists, some people are vocally trained singers, some people are entertainers. I think everybody has their own thing that they're good at. For me, it's the artist thing. I'm just an artist. All I know how to be is an artist. That's what I was born. That's what I'm gonna die. That's what I live and breathe. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily the greatest entertainer. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily the greatest vocally trained singer or anything, but artist. And I think it's just important for everyone to know what they're good at and work on that and play that up and grow on it and evolve on it.
I mean, clearly you're doing a great job at it. Yeah. And when you are in that studio space by yourself, when you're writing, when you're producing, what kind of comes first? Is it the melody? Is it the lyrics? How did you specifically craft this album, given that it's based on letters?
This album, songs were made in different ways. There was different processes. I'd never stick to one process, but one particular process that stuck out to me on a lot of the songs was that most of them were written with no music, just songs that came to me. For instance, the one that's gonna drop next up is called I Love You So Much It Hurts. And that one, literally, I was just recovering from labor. My son was sleeping next to me. I was still in my hospital bed when I got this idea for this song. And started recording it on my phone, started writing some lyrics down. And then when I got home, I continued. And then I sent that over along with some chords to one producer, and then I sent it to another producer, and we collaborated that way over, text messages. We never got in the studio together, nothing. It was just, And that was the process for a lot of them. There was a lot of other songs that, for instance, but there's one called All I Can Say. I wrote that whole song in the car on the way to the studio. I was in Miami, and I was on my way to a session, and all of a sudden the song just came into my head, and I started recording it. There's another one, It's Just Us. I wrote that one in Houston. So it's a lot of different places, I live my life, and I just experience everything. I try to just make beauty out of all of my experiences, out of everything that I go through. I try to just create, and I'm constantly creating no matter what I'm doing. So I don't necessarily, it's not like I go to the studio and I'm sitting there, like, I can't even imagine myself going to a studio and sitting there and being like, I have to make a song now. What am I going to make a song about? Can you play some beats? Can you do, like, I just can't work that way. I learned that I can't work that way. I have to kind of just live my life, have experiences, become inspired when I'm inspired, and run with it.
I love it's truly what you said earlier. Like, I am an artist. Like, live, breathe, all of the above. It's constantly that constant for you. And while I was just doing research and looking online, fans were saying, okay, sunshine and rain is the answer to After the Storm. This feels very similar to Isolation. Yeah. For you, do you agree with that? And if so, how does it feel to now be 5 albums later, and kind of see the correlation?
I mean, definitely. When I made it and I made the title, I was like, is this too similar thematically to things that I've done in the past? Always with I gravitate a lot to nature because I'm inspired a lot by nature. So, right, for instance, After the Storm, before it was called After the Storm, it was called When the Flowers Bloom. And I changed it to After the Storm. And then, we have Wishy Roses, and we have, there's so many, thematically, a lot of nature is kind of like a reoccurring theme in my music because I am so inspired by nature, and I feel like nature is where God exists, and nature is where a lot of my creativity just thrives. Like, I love to be outside, I love to be, I have my rose garden, I have my vegetable garden, that's really important for me to have that. So I don't know, I feel like it just happened, and then afterwards I even thought like, is this too similar to what I've already done? But it's kind of like how we said earlier, where I said I really don't know how to be anything but me, and sometimes I end up returning back to themes that are like already close to things that I've done, and I'm like, well, I want to do something really different, but I just don't know how to. Like, I'm just so, I don't know, I'm just me, and I just love the things that I love, and I just return back to those nostalgic elements, and those, I may branch out and try what people think is different sounds. Like on Orquídeas, I did a lot of different genre bending on Sin Miedo as well, but to me, that's still nostalgic because it's still music I grew up listening to. It's not like, probably Como Así was the most like experimental I ever got in regards to genre for me personally, where I never heard anybody make a song like that. And I never grew up listening to any song that sounded like that. And that was just completely left field for me. But usually, I am just naturally a nostalgic-driven person. I return a lot to things that are core memories for me, I don't know. It's like soothing to my nervous system. I'm the person who watches the same episodes of my favorite TV shows over and over again. Like, it just makes me feel good, and I like it. So
Trust me, I feel you. I'm the most nostalgic person. I've lived in LA my whole life. I'll be driving around and be like, oh, remember when I went there with so and so, or oh, remember, like, the entire time. The amount of times I've watched Living Single, I can't even tell you. But, just going then through that evolution of these 5 studio albums, how do you feel that you've grown as an artist? Where even though people are saying, thematically, and you're saying as well, thematically this is similar, but it's still not the Cali that wrote After the Storm. It's an involved version of you.
Yeah. I think that's what makes it beautiful, too, is to see the evolution and know that it's still true to me. It's still true to my roots in music and where I started, but an evolved version. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, that's the beauty of being an artist, right?
Exactly. Definitely.
It's taking those steps forward. And, again, with Sunshine and Rain, is it true that is your mom's voice at the beginning of the song? And what does that mean to you then, to kind of be sharing her in that way, not only with the dedication, but also having her be a part of the album?
I think that's something that she really would have liked, and she would have been really happy to know that she was a part of the album. I think she loved music. She was a huge music nerd. Like, she would know random music facts, like, oh, did you know this artist this and this person in this year? You know, she was one of those people that just knew a lot of facts about musicians and different bands and different songs, and she just knew all types of random stuff about music. So I feel like she would have really liked it. So I did it because I thought she would have enjoyed it. And also I wanted to immortalize her in the project that way. Not just through the dedication, which is like, it's in the vinyl. In the front of the vinyl, I have a dedication for her. The one that I shared to my page is in the front of the vinyl. So it's in the physical copies, but I just wanted to do something even more special to immortalize her in that way. And I thought, what better than, I was, after she passed, one of the first things I did was go through all of the audio messages that she had ever sent me, and I was just listening to all her messages over and over, wanting to hear her voice. And when I heard that one, I just thought of, oh, how perfect is this, that the song is called Sunshine and Rain, and she had said good morning sunshine. It was for my son that she sent that message. And so I thought it was just a beautiful way to open the album, considering that it's dedicated to her.
I thought it was beautiful.
Thank you.
Seeing the message later that you put out on Instagram, I was like, oh wow, now it's like you were saying, it adds those layers to that storytelling, and to be so vulnerable as an artist and share that, I think, is also an amazing thing.
Yeah, I struggled a lot with whether or not I wanted to share, like, even, because I'm a very, very private person, so I struggled a lot with if I even wanted to share that my mom was no longer here. But I think for me, I felt like I just had to not be afraid of that vulnerability and not pretend like it didn't affect me or didn't have some type of impact on me when it had such a big impact on me and still does. And I wanted to also honor her and honor her life in a way through art that I know that she would have loved and that she would have been proud of. Good morning, sunshine. I do nothing in the dark because I believe in karma.
I think even in your vulnerability, you've almost kind of created this beautiful healing energy around the album, where I can tell, I've listened to it now 3 times, and every time it didn't matter how my day was going, if it was great, if it was bad. If it was bad, by the end of it, I felt this like peace wash over me with all of the positivity, with all the storytelling.
What's your favorite song?
Ooh, Daggers.
Oh, really? Okay.
Daggers, yeah.
You feel like it relates to you, or you feel like you think about another friend or
girl? Yes,
member?
I won't get into personal things, but yes.
You're like, she was singing to me. She told me I needed better for myself. Yeah.
I was like, when I go to the tour, I'm gonna be like, yes.
Everybody's been there, yeah. For sure. I feel like it's definitely a really special song because I think that there's not enough songs dedicated to our homegirls. Like, there's so many songs about men, and there's so many songs, like, very just geared towards relationships. And there's not enough songs that are about friendships. So, or even more so about wanting your friend to see herself the way you see her, and wanting her to want more for herself the way you want more for her. So
you did it.
I thought it was needed. I hope that after listening to the album, they will feel more connected with themselves, more in touch with themselves emotionally. The emotional intelligence will have risen, and they will get a little bit of that chance to escape the way that, when I was younger, I used to need music so much to escape. I hope it will give them some type of solace, whether they're grieving or going through a breakup or trying to find themselves or whatever they may be going through in life. I hope that it helps get them through whatever it is that they need to get through.